I'd like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing with me.
This portion of today's program here on the Hazy Radio Network, known as the Coyote Medicine Show, brought to you by the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of San Juan de Felipe, Juarez, the Argentina, Colombia, man, yeah. The Coca-Cola Bottling Company of San Juan de Juarez de San Felipe, Colombia. We're making Coke as refreshing as it ought to be since 1893. Get yours now. FedEx, man, and how? A 6-pack, just $83 plus the shipping, man. Just $83 and you're in luck. 1-800-GET-COKE now. The Coca-Cola Bottling Company of San Juan de Felipe, de Juarez de San Juan de Felipe, Colombia. Yes, indeedy, man. Your friend, indeed, when you have the need. Okay? You're on today, babies, on the Coyote Medicine Show, only on the Hazy Radio Network. And I'm glad to see that, ho, 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 you've all come around to Papa, don't you know? Clinton, Dick Cheney, and Hillary Clinton, who are now in the process of complete transformation. I mean, it's the day of the unveiling of the bust of Dick Cheney in Clowntown, Washington, D.C. I mean, you got to see the Abe Lincoln statue up there in that one hallowed Hall of Fame there, the marble halls, baby. That Abe Lincoln statue. He's got his hand under his chin now, and he's sitting there rolling his eyes saying, "Oh my God." I just got to remind Abe Lincoln, maybe he did come from a log cabin. Yeah, you PR dude, you. Anyway, maybe he did come from a log cabin, but he was a politico too. You got to remember that, you know. We're all politicos somehow, man, you know. We're being played with by the politicos anyway, or played with them or whatever, I don't know. But, you know, it's politico. But, baby, it is so far beyond us now, so far away from us, so meaningless and so purposeless that we can sit here and make fun of it all day and just chuckle and be on our way. It's no big deal. You know, I mean, these guys can't end the world if they wanted to. They've been emasculated. Their Washington Monument's got a big old rubber on it now. That's Roshan. The Masonic halls of doom are now filled with gloom because they can't get away with it anymore. I mean, really, dudes and dudettes, Clowntown been found, man, and truth is coming forward. It's the day of unveiling. When they reveal Dick Cheney today, I think Dick Cheney's going to reveal Dick Cheney. I really do, man. I mean, honesty is the order of the day, wouldn't you say? In that heartfelt sort of way. We're compassionate people. We can forgive anything, provided you're willing to fess up. I mean, you know, shit. You've got to be honest about it. And I know that hurts old Dickie right down to his tippy toes, but he's got to remember, I'm Santa Claus, you know. The real Santa Claus, R-E-E-L. That's like the kind you see in the movies. I'm the real Santa Claus, just like that, man, you know. And Dick Cheney, I deliver. I'm an old trucker. I deliver the goods, man, you know. You be good and I will too. How about that? Is that a deal? And Hillary, I will cut you in on it. I mean, you know, God, you're such a curmudgeon, you know. We really got to work on you a bunch, man. She's a hard old babe, you know that? And I guess they get kicked around a lot in Arkansas. And you got to be tougher than they are, man. I can just see her with a Uzi standing there on the runway, and Mina protecting the nation's and the country's welfare and interests there, you know, personally, like, you know. Making sure that the Chinese get their share too, you know, and etc. I think, honest to goodness now, you know, this may sound like a farce and a big joke, and it might be, but I think most all of the rulers of the world, all of them, Putin, I'm sorry, buddy, you know, you may want to be Jesus Christ and rock and roll, and you probably are, but they're all cokeheads, man. They love their cocaine, man, you know. And you know why? Because they're so obsessed with the other thing. Along with power comes a lot of lust, and you can't fill the emptiness. It just gets worse, you know. And that's why they're all a bunch of cokeheads, you know. And that's why it's such a scourge on the planet, because they figure if they're going to trash themselves, you guys might as well be hooked on it too, you know, and they can make a little blood-sucking money off of you, you know. I mean, shit. How are they going to finance a secret space program without a little cocaine trade, you know? Heroin just don't cut it. People get wise to it after a while. You know, it's just not a high a profit. It is. I mean, I don't even know why we're spending all them trillions on Afghanistan fighting over a few poppies, man. Shit, who cares, man? You know, we're higher than that right here on the Coyote Medicine Show. And all we do is toke a little MJ. Yeah, awakening the masses along the way, one toke at a time. You got the real Santa Claus here, as in the movies. Yeah, the veritable Pope of Pot himself. Queen Mary J. in papal form, baby. Yeah, and I'm a male and I do wear a wanger. Yes, 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 but I'm still Mary J. I'm her papal presence on this earth, same way the other guy is the papal presence of something else. I think it's a little contrary to Mary J., but, you know, we're all getting underway. Maybe even though the old papal presence and Dick Cheney could have a nice little chat sometime and work it all out. The Vatican Bank becomes the bank of goodness and abundance and shares its wealth with the people far and wide, you know, in wise sort of ways, man. It don't just give you a few billion. It walks in and says, hey, you look like you could use a little brushing up today. What kind of thing really interests you in this life? And how can we help you, you know, get on with it and finance you into your dreams, man, you know, and do it. And bring along all these skilled, you know, Jesuit priests that are so goddamn clever in business sort of ways, and let them become the business counselors of the day. Of course, we're going to have to soften those kids up a little bit first, because what they see as business practices now ain't necessarily the business of Van Howe. Oh, no. Not the old way, man. You know, we no longer threaten and kill and destroy people because they get in our way. You know, in fact, we're here to build everybody up, not tear them down, you know. And death's no longer hanging around, so we got nothing to fear anyway, you know. There's no warfare if you can't kill. You know, if everybody's just alive, we're in it together, babies, and we're one big vibe tribe. And you know what? We're God blessed happy about it. For real, man. We're rocking this reality just by being who we are. Just by allowing that to come forward inside and be revealed to us as well as everybody else. We've known it, but we could never embrace it. We were so darn afraid of it. If we had let that loose in this world, it was destruction for sure. That's the old thought. That's the old fear that kept it harbored in us for so long. Don't you dare reveal your innocent side. The vampires and the vipers will be on you in no time at all, man. Maybe they will be, but guess what? They're a bunch of love bunnies. They're just fans. They want your autograph, man, not your blood. They're not after that something anymore. They're not empty. They're full. Because you are. Because you allow yourself to feel it. To be what you feel. And what you know is real. Like, I know I'm the real Santa Claus. I really am. Inside of my heart. You know? And I'd give all the little children everything they ever wanted and then some. I'd spoil them sour as all get out, man, and have them happy and dancing in the streets. And that's what I aim to give you for Christmas this year, all of us, man. I think it's our turn now. And I've been waiting around for, what, 25, 30 years now for the party to happen? Well, and it's been on all along, but you guys just ain't been catching on, so I kind of been doing it all by myself out there, well, with a few saints that, you know, live in the ethereal realms and shit, you know, but basically it's just been me and my tribe of angels and ancestors and shit. And we've been waiting for you guys to show up for a long, long time, man. Ah, it hurts. Maybe we can get Dick Cheney to talk about that as he unveils his soul today, man. And we find out there ain't nothing to Dick Cheney but a bust, man, a head and some shoulders, man. The rest of it's gone, man. That's why he's been able to function so well here, because, you know, shit, no heart, no soul, no nothing, man. It's just a bust, you know. Sorry, Dick. You deserve it, man. You created a statue to yourself, a statue of indignity, man. So we get to have some fun with you today. It's your fault, man. You blame it on yourself, you know. Go back to the Red River Valley and learn what life is all about. You think it's gritty in Wyoming? Try the Red River Valley, man. I don't think you'd survive a day down there, man. Not out in the boonies, not by yourself with no shotgun to shoot people with. You know, you'd be kind of lost. I know you would, man, you know. But maybe you could get found down in that territory. Maybe there's an old buzzard down there that's got something to tell you, you know. Maybe you and Hillary should go there, sit on the banks of that Red River and commune with the viperous reality around you and figure out some ways of unwinding some of this shit, you know. It's time to give the people back their heart, you know, by allowing the heart to come forward in you, like I told you before. You're a divine archangel of the highest caliber. Dickie boy, Hillary baby, you are. And it's time you let it out. We're letting ours out so you can let yours out, see? The people give you permission, in other words. You don't have to be fascist assholes anymore. You can be a real heart. You can be what you really are. You can let it all hang out, as the hombres say. And you should, right now, today. You know, take a hammer to that bust. Say, that's a piss-poor representation of me. If there's ever going to be a statue put up to me, I want it to be liberty. I want it to be life. I want it to be abundant love for all the peoples of this earth. I want all the little children in Africa and Asia cared for in the most divine and loving sort of way. I want every person on every continent, every little speck of rock on this world to be at peace within themselves, to be happy and content. I want their peace on this earth. Yes, I want more than that. I want it to be real and rocking. That's what we want to hear out of you today, Dick Cheney. Your saintly side, man. The side you've been hiding for so long, even from the people of Wyoming, you booger. You know, you don't know how many cowgirls are gunning for you now. I think you better not go home none too soon, man, because they're deadly, man, and they're better shots than you are. They got to steady your hand, man, you know. Of course, you know all about that. And, you know, Wyoming Cattlemen's Association and the Queen of England, man. That's a dysfunctional relationship if I ever saw one, man. Since, you know, 1880-something, man, 1870-something, been like that, you know. You talk about a weird-ass reality. Now, there's one to work on, to chew on a little bit. But again, because of the transformative powers of the love that's raining down all over the earth, because Eli's come already, etc. Rock and roll, baby. It soothes your soul. It's the harmony of the heart. Because of that, well, the fascism is no more. People simply will not allow themselves to think that way anymore. And if you're living in fear, you better go embrace it right now. If you're one of those doom and gloomers, get in it. Be it right now, because this is the last moment you have of it. And it's over. And it's just like a moment of death, but you come back to life while standing still. And the world around you changes. And so do you. We rise up as if from the dust of the earth, a new creation. The phoenix birds, the bird tribe, the archangels of creation, all human beings given in this form and figurement, from the tiniest child in Africa to the biggest giants up there in the Yukon, man, where we all know Paul Bunyan lives. He probably drinks that Colombian Coca-Cola, too. Don't forget, 1-800, get your real Coke now, man. We having fun today, babies? Are we getting it underway? Are we learning how to lighten up and take flight in the middle of the daylight? In other words, to shine our light where people can see it, so others will be brave enough to be it. You see how easy it is to transform our reality? We really can do complete turnarounds in people like ourselves. And then we can work on Dick Cheney and Hillary Clinton some more and help them out too, babies. And don't forget poor old Bill. I mean, he's sitting down there in Mena, Arkansas. You know, he's just crying because he's not cut in on anything anymore, man. He's a has-been, man. You know, he's a werewolf in London and nobody likes him anymore, man. His gig is up, man. His old lady's the rising star and he's the dumb one, man. You know, poor guy. You know, so we don't want to leave him off the list either. He needs to find a little unfascist light in his heart and come back to life, you know. Maybe we'll get some friendly ETs to stop by Mena, Arkansas and pick him up there. Just stand in the middle of the runway and wave, Bill, and they'll come and get you, man. And you can go to our rehab clinic. It's real similar to Trafalmador and, you know, Valerie Perrine and that other dude, I forget his name. But, wow, Billy Pilgrim, yeah. Billy Pilgrim and Valerie Perrine and Trafalmador. It's kind of like that. I knew you'd like the gig, so just, like I said, stand there in the middle of the runway. It's right up your alley, buddy. We're going to reform you, babies. You bet. All of you. And we ain't even talking about Obama yet, the little fascist terror, you know. Shoot, man. I tell you what, his clone doesn't even act well, you know. I've been telling you, they're just not very good at it, you know. Everybody sees through him, but you know what I see in that dude there? I see a good heart somewhere, you know, inside that hide. I really do. And I think this dude is about ready to take the ride and let go of the reins and just get out of there. I really do, because he's already not there anyway. You know how that works, don't you? How the politicals, you know, they have recreations of themselves, take care of all the functions in their normal days so they can play golf and hang out on the beach and shit, you know. That's the real world of the higher politics, you know, or the higher governments. I mean, that's pretty much across the board. Any government that's participating in the program can do that. You know, human clones are real common these days. You know, they do a pretty good job of it, too. It didn't used to be quite so good. You remember when Bushy Sr. was president? You'd watch his clone age away during the week. By the weekend, it was done and over with. It looked like a haggard old man, you know. Well, come Monday morning, there's a fresh George Sr. there, you know, and looking good and styling, man. He must have drank some really good champagne over the weekend, huh? See, that's when they were just developing the technology. They got a lot more refined about it. See, and nobody knows about Big Secret. Yeah, right, it's obvious to anybody that has eyes to see it. I mean, why do you think it all feels so synthetic back there in Clown Town? Probably 90% of the people we're seeing are just clones, robots, biological robots, programmed beings meant to serve a public dignitary function. PR, baby. And that's why they're not very good at it either. They got machines doing the work for them. It doesn't work. They got no heart. You understand my meaning. It's a bit metaphorical, but at the same time, I'm Santa Claus. I'm here to reveal it all, man. You wouldn't believe the little gifts I got in my knapsack this year, man. Them reindeer can barely lug it along, so we're going to have to hire a fleet of UFOs to help with the rest of it. Of course, you know, so maybe Christmas Day we'll all be partying down with the family, wouldn't you say? I think we should. I think we should make that a target, you know. Like, let's say on Christmas Day, we do it the divine way, you know. We get our real gifts opened up then. Well, how about now? Why wait around for some stupid pagan holiday, man? You know, pagan tree worship. Let's worship the tree right now. Everybody run out and hug a tree and transform the earth, okay? We could do it that easily if we had enough people listening in. So get your friends over here, babies. Are you having fun this morning? Are you getting your wake up done? And getting on the run, because babies, ooh, there's pressure in this reality. You got to get there, get there, get there. Now. Fight that traffic. Jump them lanes. Drive like a maniac. Cause a lot of pain. Cause a lot of grief. It's all about you and nobody else. Or is it? Hell, that ain't you. That never really was, man. I mean, you might have took on that facade for a while. It's kind of fun to play with. You know, but shit. Your heart's not in that. Never was, never will be. No more than Dick Cheney's heart's in the evil side. He's a love muffin. He's a love bunny. Ask any of his girlfriends. He's a real sensitive dude, man, you know. Well, okay, I'm not going to talk about the other side of it. We'll let you have that, Dick. It'll be your little secret for a moment, right? Not like everybody doesn't see that. You're going to let that go now, too, you know, because I know you were traumatized as a little boy. And never got past that fascination of it, did you? No. Well, now you are. You can let go of your grieving heart. You know, that little boy's still alive. He made it. He went through the halls of hell. He went to places where even the devil won't walk, man. You know what I mean? Dickie, you done all right. You gotta let go now. Forgive yourself. You know, it's not that little kid's fault. It's something you was born into. You know that. Something you're there to finish, just like I am, just like a lot of us are. In fact, all of us, really. We're all about the end of the cycles and seasons. We're all about completions. That's why we'll let ourselves go to hell and create hell for others, too. That's why we'll do things like that. Time to step out, to recognize how in it together we really are. As human beings, as person to person. Don't let this television world isolate you from life, or the automobile, or any other thing. Take you away from communion of the heart with all those that live around you. Your tribe, your vibe tribe. You're in that vibe, you're in that tribe. If you live there, you are there. And you're part of what there is. That's also how you can affect change. That's also how you can take the meanest damn city on earth and completely transform it into a city of love and light in just a heartbeat. In one simple moment of recognition of the beautiful truth of yourself. When you allow that little boy to cry some more, that little girl too. I know how heartbreaking it can be to have to face this reality in its ultimate cruelty, its callous nature, its reckless heart. It's willing to commit any atrocity to make things happen that it can get off on. I know the sick, syncopathic way it thinks. But I know the source of such thinking. I know the source of such activity. I know the source of the heart of life in all things that live and all expressions thereof, whether they be psychic, mystic, physical, or so far beyond this reality they don't even exist for real. It's all coming together now inside of us. It's like we're waking up from a really bad dream, where we were picking on one another with a zeal that we just couldn't comprehend. Where did that come from? You know, we had the Statue of Liberty weeping brass tears. What a farce our life had become here. How far we stretched it. Look at that. Some bitch, we almost went over the edge again. Good thing you were there to pull us back, Mama, and keep us from harming ourselves again. Now can you be the love that you are? Now can you live as you really want to be, as you truthfully are? Let go of the hard habits, the strange addictions, the untruthfulness in your reality, and just live real for a change. You know it's going to take a little time in nature to regain yourself. You know that. Give yourself that now. Just walk away. You aren't needed in those positions anymore anyway. Never really were. You're just actors in a play. And nobody's going to give a shit that you step away. It's time to deball that whole thing, to disintegrate it back into the basic elements that it needs to be the love that we are, and take care of one another visibly, openly, caringly. Just give a shit. And the reason why you give a shit is because you see yourself in others. You feel that creation surrounding you. You know of its great pain. You've lived it. You've numbed yourself down to the point where you didn't think pain was possible anymore. And look how many times you died because of it. It's ripened us into the grandest season of love and expression they can ever be. Man, we need to weep those big old crocodile tears ourselves and be done with this shit. And move on in this synchronistic, metaphysic way which is complete synchronicity in humanity. The communion with the common heart brings forward collective activity that's beneficial to each and every being. We all contribute our little instruments, tonnage, into the larger reality of creation around us and blend perfectly in that harmony, that divine harmony of life that we live as an active energy in love. Merry Christmas and a ho-ho-ho, and away we go with a little more coyote medicine, don't you know? Here on the Hazy Radio Network. You guys want to stay tuned, man? We just, you never know what's going to be coming around here on the Coyote Medicine Show, and don't you know? Oh yeah, Chicago babies from way back in the day. Oh, I'd say about early 70s, wouldn't you say? Maybe 72, 73, right in there some way. Wow, and there they are, singing about what we're going through right now and what's happening today. See how it exponentiates into reality? It starts as a little musical vibration, and little by little it gains momentum throughout the mass hysteria we call humanity. The mass assemblage of hearts begin to relate to a certain strange kind of tunage that in its day was called rock and roll. Began with some real strange medicine back in the day with the likes of Hank Williams and Robert Johnson. Talk about two uncomely strangers. Yet those musics combined to begin the tribal vibe of rock and roll, which released the medicine of the heart and soul in this reality, don't you know? That's when we began setting each other free, when the music became rockin', don't you see? And there was this dude called Elvis Presley hanging around, the king of all, man, who retired quite bodaciously at the age of 33, had enough, don't you see? But oh my God, what an angel he could be, man, and how he opened the doors for many of us, and even the scores and all kinds of symphonies and harmonies, and began the vibrational tonnage that became rock and roll, that really purified itself through the 60s, heart and soul. Now, we got In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida in here. Probably won't have time to play it today, but we'll get to it maybe tomorrow, or Free Day Friday. Ooh, goodness. Back in there. It was like 64, 65. In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, baby. Ooh, and the roll of the medicine soul started to affect the heart of the whole creation when that one came leaping forward out of the heart of the darkness there in Hollywood. Oh, darlings, you just wouldn't believe what's really been happening here yet. It's believable because you're beginning to see it and be it and live it. That's the magic of the medicine we share every day in this Coyote way, here on that Coyote Medicine Show. Where else but the ever-loving sweetheart of the universe, the Hazy Radio Network. You want to get it clear, tune in here, babies. We got it on at hazyradio.com. An energy drink for your soul. Oh, you talk about rocket ship to the moon, man. Makes crotch-tops look like candy, man. I'm telling you. Well, we're speaking in a metaphorical sense. Don't take it literally now. Stay away from that shite. It's not good for you to be awake all the time like that. Oh God, these kids out here in the boonies are into stuff worse than that, man. By a long shot, They're all looking for the ultimate thrill here on a Thrilling Thursday. Well, ain't we all? But guess what? It don't come in the form of a pill or an injection or anything like that. It comes in the form of an infection. Yeah, a regular viral reality that takes us beyond this one. Says, hey, when you open your heart, take a look at what you see. You can't get any higher than that. Even with Mary J., that's where she's taking you, because that's where she is. Just like me and old Buddha sitting under that tree creating Santa Claus, don't you see? Ho, 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 and away we go. And Santa Claus, because he's made of such, ruggedy stuff, always delivers. I think he is an old truck driver just like myself. I really do, because old truckers always deliver, man. If they don't, they're lying dead on the highway somewhere. That's the way it is, man. Do or die, man. We're better than the U.S. mail ever dreamed of being, man. Neither storm, nor sleet, nor sickness, nor pain, nor injustice of any sort gonna keep that freight away from you. Unless we decide we want to keep it, in which case that's a criminal activity, and you're going to go to jail for a long, long time. That's why we deliver, man. Shit, baby, we ain't stupid. We know the scope. We just carrying our burden right along with everybody else, doing our share to help everybody stay alive. That's why I loved hauling groceries. I loved hauling basic food for people, man. Because I knew I was doing something functional in this reality, and that, there's always that sly dog aspect to it. The coyote medicine, the coyote way. Always. I mean, shit, since I was a tiny child. And it's there when I'm hauling groceries around in these big old 18-wheel trucks. And I'm sharing a little vibe of energy with the freight that I carry. And, it spreads the infection of creative awakening even further. Whatever stage it happened to be in. Like I said, it started about 63. Elvis was starting to, wane already, but at the same time, the stuff he had started to develop into some real serious rock and roll. The kind of leave you laughing heart and soul, and brought forward a lot of love medicine in the reality and got us awakening. Like I said yesterday, many of us in those days, us young teenagers, that were a part of that movement in the early and mid-60s and 70s and so forth, we thought we invented making love. We didn't think anybody ever knew anything about it before us. Little did we know, of course, but it was just a little slight bit of arrogance we had. But it was youthful exuberance, too, because we really didn't think the generation before us understood love. We wonder how they ever had babies, Did they have to take a prescription or something? Probably, and then medicate and do it right on time and just, exactly. Ooh, poor people. No. They weren't so hamstrung as we might have thought, but we sure saw them that way then. They were squares and we were round hounds, babies. And we was around each other all the time, and we liked loving. We liked loving. And it was pretty harmless and pretty innocent then, man, Oh, sure, there's always the energy vampires around, shit like that, trying to make good things bad, but they can't do it. They couldn't do it then, man. They can't do it now, and how? I'm sure there was, lootage and rapage went on along inside the movement. There were some real criminal sons of bitches there too, They're everywhere. But, we loved them enough to forgive them. I mean, these, quote, victims of such crimes were like angels of the divine too, and they could hold that presence far more strongly than most people could, or that wouldn't have happened to them, you see. The other son of a bitch had to see how undivine they could be, how stupid they could get. And you just reflected that love back to them and kept them alive. It's part of the harder irony here in this life. But you medicated that person or demedicated them in that time by maintaining that presence despite the undivine aspects you were going through. That was the nature of the hippie soul check back in those days, man. I'm telling you, this was woman with a capital W. She was awake. AWAKE. She was coming back to life in her heart. See, that had been the biggest thing, the biggest change that we historically did as a generation, was set our women free to be whoever they wanted to be or whatever they wanted to be, and to sexually express themselves freely. Which had been unparalleled and unheard of in the uptight society before us. That's why we thought we were the first ones to ever invent making love. Because we didn't think anybody else could have been loved with that restrictive attitude around it so greatly, Well, yeah, we were all working through our own little sexual traumas. I mean, everybody gets traumatized one way or another. So, I mean, a lot of that ultimately had to be dealt with in a more creative way. But at least for a while, we were innocent and free. And it really was the awakening of the divine feminine, when men could finally start to appreciate that from their heart in a way they hadn't before, because these women were giving and caring, and a whole lot of impact went with their loving. This is how we released ourselves to these days of now. These were divine angels in service to humanity then, the same as they are now in the reincarnation they exist in to this day, whether it's the same one they were then, a little older, or they've gone around and come back around. It's still the same energy, it's still the same being and person moving us ahead, and graciously so. And in so doing, allowing the male presence to expand enough to allow the female presence to be. Because as tragic as it may sound, there was this part of the male presence that didn't want women around. It was really naughty. You know, back in those times. I mean, we still have a shadow, a glimmer of it in us. That's where some of this hate and violence and crime used to come from. Won't no more, babies. We've evened that score. You see, by going through the heavily ironic things I've been talking about just now, we purified this reality. Such activity now becomes impossible to perform or even think of. You see, the love just simply flows in, like water passing across fresh, dry ground. And it gets absorbed in fast because we've been starving for the water of life forever. So the life around is completely transformed, and what looked to us like a dry desert of humanity before this time, that couldn't produce but a few scraggly weeds here and there, you know, well, son of a gun, all of a sudden, it's, you know, this dry desert has become the fertile plain of life, the veritable Garden of Eden once again, Lemuria as I call it. And what this is a trans-dimensional experience, where two realities, two realms, two parallel universes, as we see them from this side of the fence, which is upside down, rejoin, reunite. The illusion of separation and division dissolves away. This is why we can make so much fun of the politicos today, because they're undergoing the same process right along with all the rest of us, even if they're a clone and been dead and gone for a while. This kind of shit happens back there in Clown Town, believe me. You wouldn't, you know, you just wouldn't believe what I've seen in this reality, and how much we really, inside of ourselves, each and every one of us, without having to be shown or told any of the deep, dark secrets, already know them. We saw through them a long time ago. We have the vision of the universal heart. It allows angels to escort our presences to places where angels ain't normally welcome. It allows us to see a reality behind the reality behind the reality, etc., until we set ourselves free of all those levels of perspective. You got to hit the center point. You got to hit the original. And that takes going through a hell of a lot of darkness to get there. But that's how we found we could shine our light. Go to the darkest place, give us the greatest eruption of life there could ever be. Enlightenment such as you've never seen. And what's enlightenment? The ability to laugh at ourselves and get through it. And get on with it. Be gracious with one another and have a good time with it. It's a lighter life. A life that is not heavy. It lacks all that seriousness and all the responsibility that goes with it. Because we realize that each of us is an activity of the collective in our own personal way. And as such, we're forgiven of everything because we're an activity of the collective. All of us. Now, some of you, that's going to be like a big deflation of ego. Horse shit. You know, you don't have to be all involved in the emptiness anymore, so you don't need nothing to fill you, see? It's a transformation inside of yourself that's complete. That empty side just dissolves into the fullness of its true reality. It's rooted in the same heart that you are. Every other aspect of yourself is. It's all in there together, perfectly assembled from the heart. It's our perceptions of it that's been altered and created the divisionary tendencies in the first place. We wanted to be able to experience different little aspects of our own person, let alone the creation around us. We wanted to savor the flavor. We wanted to add spice to the food of creation, that which keeps us going, the energy we feed on, which is unending. Like, you know, the Kuan symbology, the vast that never runs out of the waters of life. It's a huge, vast ocean. It's without beginning, without end. And we're a formation within that. That's our unity in that ocean of life, the water of life. It's ever abundant. It can't be taken. You can't be that empty. Not anymore. See, that was the misperception. We had to do that. Through misguidance, we find guidance. Through misdirection, we find direction. Through tragedy, we find the heart in motion and find that we really do care. Oftentimes in this reality, how many times does this happen to you? Somebody has to pass away before you realize how much they really meant to you. I mean, we're so busy being critical of them because they probably were some kind of major pain in the ass. Most of us are some way or another, you know. But if you just could have seen it and lived it while that person was still alive, and you torment yourself a bit because of that, you see. Well, that kind of conscious presence is what comes to us now, the presence we've had if we were separated. See, we're not separated. We're still unified even with those that have gone beyond us. They live inside of us as a living representation, a part of our heart, a part of what we are. They contributed to that. They made us who we are. They're an aspect of that. Another one of those personal beings that you had a personal experience with. Quite personal, wouldn't you say? And still an activity of the collective heart. It loves to celebrate itself. Sometimes those activities of celebration can be misdirected quite severely, and that's what happened here. There was mind control and manipulation, culturally, worldwide. It became automatic pilots, for many people. And, human nature was seen as a disgusting thing for a long time, something we had to fight against all the time, not realizing that was an adopted nature, an aspect. Well, in some way we created in the long ago for we were human, yes, but an aspect of ourself, our personal self, that we needed that had become warped. Its view was corrupted, and we just needed to bring it back, reminded of what it was. It wasn't this absence of life that it perceived itself to be. It wasn't this hateful being. It was a movement of love, totally. But the only way we could do that was by demonstrating to that aspect of ourselves that it becomes so uncreative as to destroy things, in perception. But to bring that back together inside and let it realize, it took a lot of going through to get it to this place where it could realize that it's truthfully love. No matter what it's done or how dangerous it made itself out to be, and how deadly too. But see, with that awareness comes an end of the deadly aspects of things, and all the need to fear. And part of you is going to feel a little bit neglected, so you're just going to have to embrace it and be good with it, be cool with it. Because it feels like fear is a useful thing still, and you just got to embrace it, be tolerant with it, like you would with a little baby that's having a bit of a fit. Just hang on to it, give it love, and help it calm down. Make those soft, sweet little sounds to it that you make to the baby when it's having that strange fit. Show that you care for every aspect of yourself, the worst parts of yourself, as well as those that you highly respect already. This is how you begin to experience unity. We've just been dealing with a naughty child inside, and inside our creation as a result. People have made him into ravenous wolves and heinous lions and hyenas and shit like that as characteristics, inside the human being. But that's warpage. That's not reality. Reality appears when you are able to endorse and embrace every energy in yourself in an understanding way. That's why you can embrace it, because you understand the naughty nature of the child that broke away. Isn't it fun, man? It's like some of the most hairballed, harebrained stuff you ever heard of. Yet it's so real in this world and so primal and basic. You see, and that's what representations like Dick Cheney and Hillary Clinton remind us of. That the little child that got away from us, the one that became abused and then became a bully because of it. It's like, wow. So we just got to remember that we are united. Just see it inside. Just be it. You feel it. See, it's something I share personally as a collective with you as a member of this collective, you see. It comes flowing through me every day. And it comes from you to begin with, too. So you create me, I recreate you. We reassure one another. We build ourselves up together. We come up out of the muck of hell and experience our Saturday in the park. Paradise, as Chicago so accurately depicted in the not so long ago. God Almighty, isn't it perfect to be alive and living and breathing? Don't you start to appreciate now the depth, the height, the awareness in your breathing, in your living soul, your loving heart that transforms energy out of atmosphere and makes it love in motion. Hillary, baby, from Grandpa's heart and the heart of the Vibe Tribe here, all those in the chat room, all those around the world tuning in various different ways that we do. This one's for you, Hillary Clinton. We love you so. We love everybody, don't you know? I'm sorry that Oprah has been endorsed for the Empress of the Universe. I know you rightfully deserved it, but you gotta admit she's a hot chick too, babies. And she is the big mama. Everybody's heart in motion, baby. Watch out. What reveals itself now in this reality is beyond your imagination, beyond comprehension of the past and the past presences that don't live anymore here in the now moment. They've changed, you know. Life has rearranged itself just a slight bit more, as it does every day in that coyote way, man, as we live it and love it and accurately share it here, this rock and roll sort of way, on the Coyote Medicine Show on the ever-loving Hazy Radio Network, with Grandpa Coyote and a host of coyote angels and ancestors too, mixing it up right along with the likes of you.